Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is kind of our last video that I'll share with you guys. Kind of the last responsibility in terms of the class and submission for a grade. In place of a final exam, we actually have a final project. I know that I heard that seniors were exempt from final exams, but this is actually in the syllabus. That's something that we need to do as kind of a capstone. So instead of a final exam, we'll have a final project, which you could choose to do individually or in pairs, or possibly in slightly larger groups, maybe like groups of 3 if you really wanted to. So let's talk about it. I wanted to make sure that I could explain what it was all about, and that way you guys would have a better understanding rather than just reading the paper, and also give you a chance to see what the rubric will look like, how will I grade you, and all those other finer details. So if you have questions, you're more than welcome to email me. I'm going to try to get back to you as soon as I can. Maybe not just right away, so don't think that I'm ignoring you. As soon as I get a chance to check my emails, I'm going to try to respond to everybody. So first things first, I know that on the top of the page here it says it's a BC Calculus final project, but it actually turns out it will be the same project for AB Calculus. So don't worry too much about BC AB. You're going to have the same project. Obviously, the BC people are going to have more topics to choose from, but the project itself is going to be the same. So first things first, requirements. The final project will be done individually or in pairs, possibly groups of 3 if you absolutely have to, but maybe we'll try to keep it to individually or in pairs. I'll ask that you use your time outside of class to complete the project, because during class we're going to be doing more AP review. So then I am going to give you a little bit of time in class to do that. So outside of class, in the placement of homework and those kind of things, I'll have you work on the project. During class time, we're reviewing for the AP exam, completing problem sets. It's your responsibility to complete the project. Don't wait until the last second to do it. I know that it's going to be very tempting to want to do that, but then I've seen people do it before, and then it turns out that it's not so great, and then your final exam, a grade, actually ends up suffering because you just kind of procrastinate. So the project will constitute your final exam. What are you going to need? A written component with diagrams, visual aids, clarity of supporting work and evidence, explanations is critical. And if you have anything that you're taking from other places, make sure you have a bibliography or just you're citing your sources. In order for your work to be considered on time, regardless of whether or not you're in school that day, all work must be submitted by hand or via email by Thursday, May 12th. Now this is getting really close to the day of graduation. I am going to try to grade the projects on Thursday, May 12th or Friday, the May 13th. So projects will be accepted early. So if you finish early, you want to submit it and be done with it, I am more than welcome to take it early, grade it early so you can see what the grade is. If you want to wait until the last day, that's on you. I know that AP exams and those kind of things are coming up. So having that time to study for the AP exam is going to be important, but don't forget about this final project that's kind of hanging out in the background. So hopefully that's a good thing, gives you a little bit more time to finish. So what are the possible problems or topics that you could tackle? I'll say the first one usually is pretty popular. I would prefer that you do this on paper. I have had people send me a presentation over email electronically, but I don't think it's the same as doing it on paper, especially since a lot of the presentations start to look the same. So I like doing it on paper so that in future years, if a student asks me what is calculus, should I take it, I could just pull out one of these little booklets and then hand it to them, and they can get an idea of what calculus is without me having to sit there and rattle off, what is a derivative, what is an integral. Maybe they can look for themselves. So the first possible topic is an ABC booklet or beginner's guide to calculus, whether that's BC calculus or AB calculus, depending on which class that you're in. It should include one concept or keyword for every letter of the alphabet, and it should be jazzed up using some diagrams, some pictures, some humor. Feel free to use me in there if you want to. I know there's one specific letter that people have used me quite a bit for in the past. The options seem simple, but attention to detail and sophistication will play a big part in how you'll be graded. So don't just put like a letter, a word, and one small picture. Maybe what the word means. Try to jazz it up a little bit, make it colorful. I think that would be really great. Maybe tie it together some way. So there's lots of creative things you could do with this, but maybe just stay away from the presentation where you send me a PowerPoint that has all the letters of the alphabet and kind of going that way. I mean, if you have to, go ahead. Just know that I would prefer to have it on paper so that some point, if somebody asks me, I can just pull it out and I could share it with someone, and that would be great. So there's option number one. Option number two, a children's storybook involving calculus. I think people do this and take me up on this one in the past as well. I like this one as well. It's kind of the same thing. It's something that you could hand to somebody. I like how creative people have been with this, and I can tell you some examples that people have done in the past. So create an original storybook that includes several calculus topics embedded in the story itself. Please make the calculus topics embedded in the story so the story flows. There's no obvious, I needed to include a topic here, so here it is moment. So try to make the story kind of flow. Don't just go like 3 pages and then like all of a sudden, okay, now I need to introduce a derivative, so it has nothing to really do what's going on in the story, and here's a derivative. No, try to incorporate it somehow in what the story is saying. You don't need to have 100 different concepts or topics. Just make it flow, make it interesting, make it creative. So creativity and general knowledge of concepts will go far in this topic choice. Please include pictures, sketches that enhance the book and make it appealing. I won't be grading you based on your artwork. So if you're somebody like me that doesn't draw very well, but you want to try, then I think that's great. I won't mark you down for your artistic ability. Instead, I'll be marking you for your calc concepts and how it flows in the story. A couple examples that I've liked in the past. Somebody did a storybook about me being a superhero, and what I was doing was fighting crime with calculus. So there were different villains in a certain city, let's just call it Gotham, and I was fighting crime by using calculus and overthrowing some of the things that evil villains were doing in the town or the city with calculus. I thought that was really cool and that was interesting. And for me, being kind of a nerd with this kind of stuff, I thought that was enjoyable. Another one that kind of comes to mind when I talk about the storybook is somebody did me traveling through like an enchanted forest, and in the enchanted forest, I would come across different things, different calculus concepts that were kind of animated. So it was very interesting to just walk through the forest kind of like late at night, and I was coming across different calculus concepts, and then it was talking about different things that had happened to me, and then it was kind of interesting. So there are lots of different routes you can take. Feel free to use those two as kind of like a starting point. You could definitely expand past that and do some other things. If you want to run some ideas by me, you could shoot me an email. We could talk back and forth like, hey Z, do you think this is a good idea? Or do you have any suggestions? Here's kind of what I want to do. What do you think? If you send me a message like that, I'd be more than happy to email you back and forth a little bit and give you an idea of what I think. Number 3 is another one that I kind of look forward to. I've had a lot of students take me up on in the past, is to create an original song or a lyric dub to one of your favorite songs. Several examples of this have been shown in class and can be found on YouTube. I believe you'll actually see 2 of them today. I'm not sure if I've played them already this year because I kind of forget. But if I have, then you've seen a couple. I think we have shown at the very least 1 or 2 of them. Songs can be video recorded or audio recorded. So if you don't want to be on the video, you could just do audio all by itself. Submission must include a hard copy of the song and must be presented to the class for viewing, listening pleasure. I'm not sure if we're going to get to the class presentation, but I would like a hard copy, whether you send that to me. So matter of fact, if you want to just send it to me over email or include like a link to it, make it a YouTube video, that would be fine. I know that the days of burning discs, if you even know what that is, are kind of over. So maybe we'll be kind of lax on the hard copy, but I do want a copy of the song so that I could listen to it and see what you think. Well, see what I think. The first time I ever did this, I had a group do something with Imagine Dragons. Now, these people were not very good at singing. Like, that was not a talent that they had. But what they did is they recruited some other people and they wrote up some lyrics, and they had some people that they knew that were in the choir actually do it for them, and it ended up working out really well. So if that's something you're worried about, you could try to recruit other people or do it yourself. Again, I'm not going to be grading you on your ability to make it all go in harmony, but instead, is it original? Is it creative? Does it have calculus? And those are good things. So you'll see some examples here momentarily after I talk about this in the video, so you can get an idea of what a couple look like. I have seen some people come alive with this kind of option. I've seen really quiet people in my classes previously will actually end up doing like a rap. I had a very quiet, shy girl like 3 or 4 years ago end up doing a rap song to Mac Miller, and it was great. It was something that had calculus in it. It's not something I'm going to be showing a lot of other people. It'll be kind of just you and me. So if you're somebody that's like worried about me showing this to the entire world, You could just let me know, like, hey Z, I did this. I thought it was creative, but I prefer you not showing other people, and that's fine. If it's just you and me looking at it, that's great. I would not release your name to other people, but I'm kind of curious what you guys would come up with. So feel free. You can do a rap song. You can do your own rap. You could do a rap on top of another song. Totally up to you. It doesn't have to be rap either. It could be rock. It could be any type that you would like. All right, number 4. Create a presentation that presents calculus in the real world with a variety of applications and connections to the material discussed in class. Presentation is not for faint of heart. Require a presentation to the class. Again, I'm not sure we're going to get to that presentation in the class. It'll probably just be a presentation to me. You could just send it to me, and then if I had more questions, I could email those to you. Presenters should have completed substantial research, be able to answer questions from anyone in the audience, and that anyone in the audience is going to be me. So when you send it to me, if I have questions, I will send you some. I'd like a response just to answer if I have any. Sometimes I don't have any, but sometimes I do. Some people take this option to pass because they said it was quote-unquote easier. Just make sure that you're putting in some work to this. It's not just something that took 10 minutes, but you actually took some time. Several examples of calculus in the real world based on the topics that we have talked about. I mean, there are endless things that you could write about. If you're interested where that application is going to be, that could definitely be something that would be a good option. Number 5, compare and contrast the contribution of Leibniz and Newton to the calculus. Discuss the ongoing debate of who is the sole creator of calculus, and make a stand as to who you think is the main contributor. You must make a choice and support that decision. You cannot claim that both are equal contributors for the project. This option must be presented to the class and supported by research. Again, it'll be presented to me, because we're not going to have that opportunity maybe to present to the class, but definitely supported by research. This is actually a really big debate in math and science circles as to who should be given credit for it. I think we've talked about it in class before. Newton is the one that classically gets credit for calculus. Leibniz does not. A lot of people say that one of them discovered it before the other, but it's very much an ongoing debate. Leibniz is all the notation that we have used up to this point, where Newton definitely had the conceptual knowledge, but was not so concerned with other people knowing how to do it. He was very content with him knowing how to do it by himself. So this would be something for the people that like to kind of compare and contrast. That would be a good option for you. Number 6, teach a lesson. Review the material discussed this year, reteach a previous lesson, or teach a new lesson from Calc 3. Totally up to you. Topics must be pre-approved by me, so you have to send me a message saying, Z, I'm interested in doing a lesson on this, and I want to make sure that it's just enough. Like, I don't want you to just do one topic. Like here I tell you, don't just request to teach simple topics like the power rule or basic integration. If you want to do power rule, then maybe do power rule with chain rule and quotient rule, maybe just a little bit more. So don't just try to maybe just do one little simple thing, maybe try to add some things to it so it gives you a little bit of variety. That's why I want you to send it to me kind of for pre-approval, just so I can tell you, hey, that looks like it's going to be enough. That's going to be a good enough topic for you to do. So if you have been noticing a lot of my mannerisms, or you want to kind of poke fun at me for mannerisms, this would be a great option. I remember my first year teaching, I had 3 guys take me up on this part and actually presented a lesson using all my mannerisms, all the things I say daily, my slides. They had everything to a T, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I have a video of it somewhere. I'll have to find that, and if I can find it, I'll upload it to YouTube, and I'll share it with you guys. But this would be a great option if you want to do that. And I don't take things like that personally. If you want to poke fun at me, that's totally fine. I'm perfectly aware that I have mannerisms that I repeat, and a lot of things I say I repeat. Some of it I do on purpose, some I don't. But I find it all in good humor. So if you wanted to, you could do this. You could create like a PowerPoint. You can create like a little worksheet. So it says presentation, includes a PowerPoint, some visuals, a note sheet, worksheet, and then you complete this option as if you were the teacher yourself. So maybe there's somebody in the room that is thinking about it. Maybe they would want to teach math at some point. I know some people at that exact moment are going to be rolling their eyes and be like, no, there's no way I'm ever going to. But if you wanted to give it a shot, this could be something you could do, something you could try. So feel free. Again, just shoot me a message with your topic if you want to do this, just so I can pre-approve it. I won't ask for a lot. I just want to make sure that it's going to be something that works out for you. Number 7, this is for hands-on people. If you want, create a 3D model for volumes of solids revolution, area between curves, or volumes and areas of cross-sections. Again, I showed you a lot of pictures when we were talking about these things, but if you created me a 3D model that I could actually take out and show people while we're talking about it or learning it, I think that would be great. So if you're looking for some ideas to get this one started, feel free to email me. I can help you start the option and kind of guide you. Presentation-wise, I'll just ask you kind of explain to me what you have. So that would be something you could just write up. I don't think it'd be too crazy. So if you like making 3D models, this could be something for you, a little bit more hands-on, a little bit less writing, and a little bit more creating. And then number 8, create a simple ways to remember difficult concepts guide. Attention to detail, clarity, and overall ease will go a long way in the grading of this. Please make sure the connections you are making make sense and are helpful overall with anyone picking up this guide in the future. So kind of creating like a little guide where you could talk about some topics and maybe some nice ways to remember them. I've tried to give you guys some different things throughout the year as to ways you could remember things. One example would be like ILATE, right? So we know ILATE is a great way to remember integration by parts. You could talk about things like that. Maybe you've developed some things for yourself. You could talk about the unit circle. You could talk about lots of things. So maybe we would say like 10 concepts would be what I'm after here. What are 10 simple ways to remember 10 quote unquote more difficult or interesting concepts? The last one is number 9. I won't say that I have all the ideas of things you could do for a final project. If you have an original idea for a project, that's totally fine. I'm open to the idea of ideas that you guys have. Just send me an email. Let me know what your idea is. And if it is something that I think constitutes a good final project, then I will give you the go-ahead. I will give you the green light, and you're more than welcome to do something that's not listed here that you find interesting or that you came up with yourself. So definitely send me a message and I can pre-approve it for you. In terms of scoring, here's what the scoring will look like. If something is missing, it will get a 0. If something is not up to par, it'll get a 1. If it needs improvement, like it's close, but it's just not quite there, it'll get a 2. If it's pretty good, it will get a 3. Excellence will be a 4. And 5 will be one of the best I've ever seen. So if you're interested in getting 100% on the final project, then make it something that has a lot of effort. You know, I'm not the most difficult grader when it comes to the final project, but also I'm going to be pretty blunt. If it's missing something, then it's missing. Like, how could I give you points for something that's not there? So here are the main groups. There'll be attention to detail and clarity. Did you obviously take some time to it? Did you take your time? Is it neat? You know, those are things I'm after. If you're talking about concepts, are the concepts accurate? Or what you're saying actually true? Creativity, originality, that's going to be huge. Did you come up with this idea yourself or did you copy it from somewhere else? You know, I'm looking for original ideas. I'm looking to see what kind of creative things you have. Just remember, this final project is a capstone for this course. So why not just make it the last thing that I get from you so I can have like a lasting memory of something that you did. And then that way, you know, years from now, when you email me back and like, Z, how are things going? I miss your class. I miss all your funny jokes. I can be like, hey, remember that rap song that you sent over to me? And then I'll just send you a link to it and we can laugh about it. So these are the things that I would like to do. This is assuming that you'll even want to talk to me after you get your diploma. The next one, organization and neatness. Sophistication is the next one. So even though you're talking about like children's books, those kind of things, I want it to be sophisticated, that you're talking about calculus and the concepts in a way that is accurate and true. So there's the accuracy of the calculus. And last but not least, the sources. Where are you getting your information from? Did you get it from anywhere? Did you totally do it yourself? I understand that for some of these topics or some of these choices, you may not be getting information from anywhere. If that's the case, then you don't have to list it, but then just make sure that I don't call to question anything that you have there. Like if you're teaching a lesson and you steal some diagrams from online, then just list out where you got those diagrams. But if everything came from you, then just make sure that the project reflects that. And there's no places where I'm kind of like wondering to myself, did they take this from somewhere on the internet? So then sources will be there as points as well. So your final score will be out of 30. Again, this will be worth your final exam grades, which definitely will make a difference to your overall grade. So please don't neglect this and not submit it. This would be a terrible thing not to submit and may cause like grades to lower if you're not paying attention to what you should be doing. But it could also definitely raise grades. So if it's something that you're looking at your grade right now and you're like, man, I'm really close to the grade that I want, then do a nice job and could definitely help you get there. So I'm hoping that my explanations made sense. I'm hoping that this video was helpful and then it gave you a chance for me to kind of clarify some things and give you some examples. Again, I know that a video is not something that you could just pause, ask a question, and get your answer right away. So definitely send me a question on our Google Doc. I will try to answer them daily. If I don't answer you right away, don't get offended. I'm going to try to answer as soon as I can. You can also send me an email. If you send me an email, I'll try to answer those at the end of the day or the beginning of the day every day, just so that I'm trying to touch base with everybody. and trying to make sure that everyone understands what the assignment is going to be. Last thing I'll say again is due on Thursday, May 12th, but you are more than welcome to turn it in early, and I'm going to try to finish those grades on that day or on the following day because graduation, I believe, is soon after that. All right, guys, so I'm hoping the video made sense. If you have any questions about the video or anything else, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope everything is well on your end. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.